We put on the spotlight on the sudden resignation of the national chairman of the All Progressives Congress, the APC, and former governor of Kano State, Umar Ganduje. His sudden resignation came amidst perceived discontent, over his recent endorsement of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, of course, sidelining, many say, his vice President Kashim Shettima at the Northeast Caucus meeting, which has generated a lot of internal discord within the party. And of course, many believe that this development is part of the larger, realignment within the APC-led government of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, especially at the party level. This is also coming at a time that the opposition coalition is gaining momentum. The recent leadership structure is going viral, containing names of top politicians, including former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, former Governor of Anambra State and presidential candidate of Labour Party Peter Obi, former Governor of Rivers State Rotimi Amechi, former Governor of Kaduna State Nasser El-Rufai, former Governor of Osun State Arabisola, and of course the former Senate President David Mark, has generated a lot of reaction and attention among political pundits. They believe that the opposition political movement is gaining momentum, which is set to unveil the party that is going to use for the 2027 presidential election in a couple of days to come. We'll be looking at all of these issues and of course more in the polity this evening with Comrade Ahmad Raji. Comrade Ahmad Raji is a political affairs analyst. He joined us to provide context and analysis on some of these key political issues. Thank you for joining the conversation.
Welcome. Thank you too.
Right. And viewers, you also have the opportunity midway into the program to call in and share your thoughts on these key topical issues that we're going to look at. Let's just go straight into this. I know you've been following the development very keenly. Many, found it, can describe it as a sudden resignation of the national chairman of the APC, Umar Ganduje. But to some, it is something that has been expected. Going by what has been happening within the party, and of course a prolonged agitation for even the shift for the position to the North Central Zone. So let me get your initial reaction to the resignation of the former national chairman.
Well, Mal Abdullahi and viewers, good evening. Malam Shafiu Abdullahi, yes. Good evening.
Right.
I think before I will delve into the issue, let me first and foremost commend the promoters of this television house, the Daily Trust. It has become a household, particularly in the northern part of Nigeria.
Thank you very much.
It's become so educative, so enlightening, and so entertaining. I believe in every 2 to 3 houses you will have TVC, at least in 2 if it is 3 houses. Right. This is an opportunity you are providing to us to come and share our own opinion based on what we know.
Yes, nation building.
Thank you very much. Right. To me, I always, whenever I talk, I always say it based on my own information.
Right.
There is nothing so sudden to me. There is nothing so new about it.
Okay.
Recall when the government of President Muhammadu Buhari finished its tenure, the position of the chairman was with the North Central. Yes. It was Senator Abdullahi Adamu that have resigned. That has brought us to where Dr. Umar Ganduje. Yeah. And there have been so much agitation that for balancing sake, it should go back to North Central. But that is not the major issue. What we have read, since we are not part and parcel of the inner caucus, is that the Mr. Chairman has resigned based on health ground. Right. But be as it is, or be as it may be, the point is there must be a realignment. Okay. We are all working towards 2027. Definitely there must be a convention of the party where new leaders will be elected. So whatever that is cooking inside is not known to us yet. But to me, there is nothing surprising, there is nothing too sudden about it. It's normal in life. It do happen. Soldier come, soldier go. They said barracks remain.
Yeah. Could it? I mean, because quite a number of people are attributing it to, the sudden need to. You talked about it, balancing. There are people who felt that the president has to do something around, the leadership structure, especially those appointments, to pave way for this balancing that is expected, especially now that the party, is worried over, the way it is being perceived or the way it is being accepted, on a regional basis. For instance, there has been so much outcry that the northern part of the country is not in tune, or rather is not happy, so to speak, with the current disposition, especially around appointments. Could it be a reason why this has to come at this very point in time?
Madam Shafi, when we said some part of the country is not happy with appointments, I used to ask myself, what type of appointment are we saying? Under the party hierarchy, it's not an appointment. What you have the chairman, well, it could be to a larger extent, but then what you have in the party structure is you have executives that are elected to run a term of office. Well, he may have come in through appointment because of the way and nature he has succeeded. But then when you go back to appointment and saying there's a perceived imbalance or there are agitation, there will be agitation all over. Right. There will be no time when there will be no agitation. Right. And this agitation, is it a genuine agitation or is it an agitation that people are doing so that they too can be recognized, so that they too can be involved? I was doing a simple analysis of myself. When you say particularly the northern part of Nigeria, I don't know. The northern part of Nigeria has gotten its own fair share under this administration, as far as I'm concerned. If you go back to appointment of Federal Executive Council, Mal Abdullahi, we are having key appointments. If you remove finance alone, and I don't know if it is only finance the north wants, the Attorney General is from the north, the Minister of Health is from the north, Foreign Affairs is from the north, Defense is from the north, Water Resources is from the north. You can count a number of them. Women Affairs, at least in some states you have about 2 ministers. I don't know if it is not balancing.
Yeah,
but I don't know.
Beyond the ministerial appointment,
yes.
People are also looking at leadership,
yes,
especially appointments that have to do with zoning, reflecting the zoning arrangement and all of that. Former Governor Abdullahi Umar Ganduje, happens to come from the northwest.
Northwest, definitely.
And you talked about the fact that the slot for the national chairmanship of the party actually belongs to the North Central.
North Central.
Yes, there has been this agitation over time and all of that. And again, it is coming at a time there are also concerns around the possibility of, dropping the current vice president in 2027. So much endorsements have gone in from the Northwest Caucus to the North Central Caucus to the Northeast Caucus, now sidelining or, without mentioning his name, even though the party seems to justify that. It is not something that has to be done by the party, but then it's a sole responsibility of the president to do that, or the candidate of the party to do that. But many are also looking at it from this prism, from this point of view, the need perhaps to justify reasons behind some of the speculations. Do you agree with that submission?
Well, you see, like what I have said earlier on, speculation, agitations, these are issues that you cannot deny people from doing. Agreed, Dr. Ganduje came in from the northwest, and ideally, the position was meant for North Central. He has hauled in for the time, and it has come to a time today he has resigned and the Northeast has taken over. It is not even the North Central again. So it is just the structure of the party, and I think this will continue up to the time when convention will hold. As regard to issue of nomination, the vice president name has not been mentioned. I don't think, I always ask a simple question. Has that nomination formalized that Mr. President has been given the ticket? Has that closed the door for any other aspirant in APC? So if it has not closed the room for any aspirant, and if we are not saying Mr. President has been fully given the ticket, then it means we are only making a noise. I'm coming. The point is, we must wait until when convention are held, Mr. President is elected, I mean, given the mandate, then we have said it, he has the sole right of nominating.
Right.
And definitely whoever is nominating, whether it's the current vice president is returning or any other person is coming from the northern part of Nigeria. That is what is important.
Right. Okay. Going by, some of the reactions coming from stakeholders, the chairman of the Progressive Governors Forum, I think, Uzodimma,
Yes.
did say that the resignation, or rather, the resignations were actually part of the evolution of the party, and to strengthen it, ahead of the next election. And many also commended, the decision of the former chairman to resign, and then also some also commend, the handling of the affairs of the party by the president, looking at such a decision taken without much rancor. For instance, former national chairman resigned, some say he was forced, to resign and all of that. But bottom line is that he has resigned on those grounds, that you talk about. But what does this mean to internal party cohesion? Because some say, if the APC can do this seamlessly, why is it difficult among other political parties to have this kind of internal cohesion?
Well, I think the difference is that, when you have a party in power, there is much difference than being in opposition.
Right.
That is one aspect in our own politicking here. Today, the APC is in power. PDP have done worse than this. I always say it here. Because when they took over in 1999, President Obasanjo has removed how many number of party chairmen? They are countless. He has removed how many number of Senate presidents? They are countless in this country. So the issue is that if you are having a Democrat in the leadership, then you see the difference. I am saying it, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is the only president you have who is Democrat by nature. Why? Because President Obasanjo was just converted from the military to become a politician. Equally, President Umaru and President Jonathan were academics when they were brought into the political field and became leaders. And equally, President Muhammadu Buhari was also just a convert. So if you are having an activist, if you are having a Democrat, true to the cause is President Tinubu. And therefore, if he is managed, if he is able to manage this transition of this nature, there is nothing new in it. As far as politicking is concerned, he has known the art and he is playing the art.
Right, okay. So now looking at, what is happening within but then there are also concerns that whatever the president is trying to do in terms of realignment, if it does not, affect the ordinary people who are at the center of this electoral contest, it won't change anything, because quite a number of people are looking at it from the point of view of the fact that Mr. President has realized that there is this lopsidedness, there is need, to carry, especially the regions, the base of the party along, and that is why this shifts, are necessary. But if they don't reflect, the current reality, going by what people are going through in terms of, that what people need is economic realignment, that would change their lives and all of that. Do you agree that no amount of schemings, no amount of realignment will work without necessarily changing the current trajectory in terms of the reality of things in the country?
Well, this question requires you do what you call an analysis basis. Because if you are saying, going by the situation at hand, the APC or Mr. President has, let's say, a very strong or a very difficult wind to pass through. Then at the same time, the other side are also not formidable. Why am I saying this thing? Because the ordinary Nigerian has lost hope. I have said it in this
lost
studio.
hope in the administration or in
no,
the entire
no, no,
politics?
no, 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 in the democratic setting.
Okay.
I have said it in this because by 2013, 2014, when they scratched their cards and voted for President Buhari, and they've not seen anything, then the ordinary man has stepped aside.
Okay.
All this up and down that people are doing is not really, is not with the downtrodden.
Okay.
It is an elitist issue. It is the opposition that are making the noise. And in politicking, that is what is the center of it. The opposition will always want you to criticize government. They also want you to character assassination of those that are leadership, whether it is good or whether it is bad. That is their own philosophy. Therefore, if somebody is saying, going by the situation, Mr. President has never denied the fact that there are hardship in the land. He has never denied that fact. And definitely, I am sure he is working towards to ensure that things are better. Because if you compare the cost of foodstuff this year and last year, there's quite difference. So definitely, Mr. President is working towards to ensure that the livelihood of the citizens are improved.
Okay.
But be as it is, those that are also jumping on the other side are not better than him. Because we have seen them. They were at a time having position in their own various locations. And Malabla, I can tell you today, if you conduct an opinion poll, let's say everybody will go to his constituency. You do an opinion poll on Mr. President in Lagos. You conduct an opinion poll on Mr. Obi in Anambra, Erufai in Kaduna. Then give the Vice President Abuja and Yola. I can bet you Mr. President will still emerge as leading in terms of constituency relevance. So therefore, when we are talking about the ordinary citizens, then you go back to your own constituency.
Yeah.
I can bet you these people that are now jumping around, they don't have their constituencies.
Are you also disputing there? Because just recently, the former governor of Kaduna State dropped, what he called an opinion poll that was conducted on the current administration. And he said the government had 91% disapproval rating, especially in the north. And in other places, also couldn't do much better than 50% and thereabout. So are you saying that some of this, opinion polls or some of these projections might not be the true reflection of what is happening in the country?
To a larger extent, it may not be, because I have told you that when you go by an elitist, this elitist concept of what is interested in me, what is my own objective, what do I desire to achieve, does not really translate into what the ordinary common man is. Because of that, therefore, they have now segmented it. In every cluster, in every ward, they have person that they reach out. It is not to the entire generality of the society they are reaching out. Therefore, even if it is a survey being conducted, you will find out that probably the survey has not gone around deeply. That's the reality. But I can bet you that, like what I have said earlier on, if you do an opinion poll on all these candidates as at today, still President Bola Ahmed Tinubu will emerge.
So you agree with those who are saying that whatever the opposition will do in terms of coming together, no matter how they pull their strengths, they will not be able to defeat the president come 2027.
Mr. Abdullah, there is no opposition per se, because...
Shafiu, yeah.
Sorry, I'm mistaken the name. Mr. Shafiu.
Right.
What I'm saying is that if you look at it, is it an opposition per se? Because realignment that we are saying, or coming together to have an idea, is not a new thing in the history of politics in Nigeria. Remember, during the First Republic, there was an understanding between MPC and NCNC, the form of government. In 1979, there was an understanding between MPN and NNPP, the form of government. In 1983, there was this Progressive Governors Alliance. You get the point. The biggest one you had was in 2014, when some parties have to collapse their structure and also mute into it. The three of them, the ACN, the CPC, and the NNPP. Then you have a faction of the PDP and a faction of the ABGA. So today what you are happening, what is happening today is not the reality of what has happened in 2014. Because none of these opposition parties,
changed,
yes, none of these parties are ready to collapse their structure. So it's an individual fleeing from his own party because he's not satisfied with what is happening there, coming to say we are forming together. There is no solid structure on ground at that moment that I can tell you as regard to opposition.
But the pillars, come in, indicating that the opposition figures may have settled for ADC, and that may be unveiled in the next couple of days, and they've realized that the new party they are proposing for registration might not see the light of day, so they're collapsing into the ADC, even though they didn't make that official. But some of the insiders did mention that there are plans to all converge on the ADC. So are we likely going to see what happened in 2014? If, for instance, the former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, former Anambra State Governor Peter Obi, who is of Labour Party, and quite a number of former Senate President David Mark is of the PDP, now coming together under the same platform. Are they not likely going to make any headway?
Mr. Shafiu, they are all from PDP. They are all bona fide members of PDP that have run away from PDP to other parties.
Originally.
Like you have said, the Peter Obi and what have you. They are all. So I have just told you a scenario. I said, let them go back to the home base and did an opinion poll. You get the point. And who is telling them that their new party will not be registered? Because there are criteria in registering a party. If you have failed to fulfill your own criteria, don't blame anybody.
But they say going by the body language of INEC, perhaps.
There is no question of body language, Malam Shafi. The body language is that you do what is right. The law is not respecter of anybody. The fact that Mr. President is the chief executive in this country does not mean he will deny anybody registration once it is required, because he has no involvement in party registration. It is INEC that registers. And so if INEC failed to register, you cannot shift blame. Then if INEC has failed to register you for no reason, there are court of law. That is why they are there. So what I'm trying to say is that in the first instance we heard of SDP. Today, SDP is in crisis because they went there, they dropped their viruses, they have jumped over. They have been to ADC, we learned they have moved from ADC, they are forming another one. So if they are going back to ADC, so that means they are tier 2, they are not too sure of what they are doing. That is the issue. But what I'm trying to highlight is that in the previous exercises that we have witnessed, parties collapses themselves. So you have a whole structure moving in. But there is no party that is willing. Labour has never said they are joining Obi.
In fact,
equally, PDP has not said they are joining Obi.
In fact,
Atiku.
In fact, the former Vice President was said to have been in talks now with his support base, because there is also a serious concern among his supporters. They've been making this very public, that they would not accept any running mate slot. They want him to run, as a presidential candidate and all of that. So, in essence, what you're saying is that it is not yet Uhuru, within the coalition opposition now, in spite of the seeming agreement that they're going to collapse into one structure.
See, Mr. Shafiu, if there's any politician that one can even look and say is respected in coalition, maybe it's Arek Beshola. Maybe. As far as I'm concerned.
He has declined to accept the secretaryship position.
I have just said it like that. Whether Atiku will run for the presidency or not run for the presidency is that the essence of us having terms allotted to leadership is because of the diversity of our country, is because we want unity and peace. And this is a gentleman agreement that was achieved in 1999. I have said it here, that the entire country has unified to allow the Southwest to contest in 1999. That was why we had Olufalaye and Obasanjo. After them, then we had Umaru from the north. Accidentally, something happened and Jonathan came in. So those that are pushing, in 2011, remember, the vice president contested against Jonathan that the north has not finished its term. So if today he is contesting, nobody said he is free citizen of Nigeria, a bona fide citizen that he can contest. But for at least for unity, for peace, let us exit this man after 8 years. Let him finish the 2 term, at least. Whatever I'm saying is that if we want to have a drawing board, let us have a drawing board after 2031.
Okay.
Then, I have said it here that what is important in Nigeria is good leadership, wherever that leadership will come from.
Irrespective
of whoever he is. But we have just joined a ship. It is in the middle of the ocean, and somebody said it must reverse back. So, in the interest of peace, in the interest of unity, let Mr. President continue. So that by the time he finishes his term, by 2029, then we should start looking for a pan-Nigerian, if you like.
At least, I mean, on the platform of his party, because other political parties have also the right to contest against.
Everybody has rights. Right. Everybody has rights. We are not denying the fact that the vice president will contest. He can contest.
Yes. So part of the, I mean, the calculation, many say, was to look for a more vibrant, a more grassroots-oriented politician, perhaps to run with the president in 2027. There are those who are looking at it from the point of view of the fact that the former Kano State Governor, Rabi Musa Kwankwaso, may perhaps come into the picture going forward, 2027. And perhaps that's the reason why, you know, Ganduje is resigning, so that the alignment will now shift, you know, move away from the Northwest and all of that. But there are also those who felt that any plan, you know, that will sideline or jettison or run without the current vice president could spell doom for the party, especially its support base, that is the Northwest.
Northeast.
And Northeast might be at stake. Do you agree with those who are looking at it from?
Well, in the first instance, the Rabi Kwankwaso factor is an assumption. It has not yet come up.
Right. Even though, you know, there were meetings, you know, earlier behind closed doors.
Well, politicians will continue to have meetings. So you will not deny them having meetings. But it's an assumption that has not come yet. And what is important is the party and the personality that is contesting. I have told you my position. I'm not saying in a democratic environment, everybody has a liberty to his choice. So I can make my choice. If I said President Tinubu is the best candidate, I'm not wrong. That is my own opinion. Somebody else can have his own opinion. What I am saying is that the way the coalition is going, the way the structure of the democratic activity that is going, whoever that is being picked as vice president, I have said it here, is from the northern part of Nigeria. What is important is that the president is from the southern part of Nigeria and the vice president is from the northern part of Nigeria. When the time comes for us to analyze the factor of who is what and who is what, then that should come after when Mr. President is being given the ticket to run.
Right.
That is as far as I'm concerned.
Right. Okay. Let's look at the coalition. Even though you don't seem to have any believe that the confidence in it, rather. But then looking at the structure, that too hasn't been unveiled officially. For instance, looking at the leadership, the leaders of this coalition, none of them actually denied that it's been part of it. I mentioned the names earlier. If you look at the spread, you will discover that each and every one of them perhaps comes from a particular zone. You know, especially this. The spread is along these geopolitical zones, so to speak. If you take Peter Obi, for instance, represents the southeast. If you take Atiku Abubakar, it represents the northeast. You take Arabi Shola, for instance, represent the southwest. You take David Mark, represent the north central. And then if you take Arafai, you know, represent the northwest.
Yes.
Looking at the caliber of these politicians and of course their clout politically, do you think, you know, they could spring some surprises, even though the presidency doesn't appear to lose sleep? You know,
Mr. Shafi, I have given you my answer earlier. It's not question of their zones where they come from, but is their relevance in where they are coming from.
Are you saying they are not relevant politically?
To a larger extent, they cannot be of any harm to APC. If you go back to North Central, tell me the role of David Mark. Even when he was the Senate president in this country, what has he done to the North Central that today they will become a rallying point? Go back to Northwest. What can you say of Northwest about Erufai? Apart from Kaduna, where does Erufai knows in the Northwest? In earnest. Then Mr. Obi, the vote he has gotten, even in the southeast, in 2023, I bet you he will not even have that vote. Today, if
Why did you say so?
If ABGA will unanimously under Soludo will say they have adopted Mr. President, if the Labour man in Abia is a friend with Mr. President, then definitely you know that Mr. Obi's vote will be decimated in the southeast.
So you think he's not going to get that block vote that he had, in 2023?
Mr. Obi will not get this vote, even if the coalition will present him as the presidential candidate. And I'm saying this for those who are listening to us, they should go and note it in their diary. In 2027, if Mr. Obi will fly the ticket of coalition party, I am telling you, he will not get the vote he has gotten in 2023. That is the best he has ever gone, and that is the best he will ever go. I'm saying it. Because sometimes some of us were there in the grassroots. Agreed, people are suffering. Nobody is denying the fact that people are suffering. But also, people don't have confidence in them also. It's not an issue of nationalistic an idea. It is an issue that we want to push somebody so that we should also be there.
But some would say, why were they able to pull the kind of weight they pulled during the 2023 election? Take, for instance, put together their votes, more than 12 million if you put together. Atiku Abubakar has close to 7 million or so, and Peter Obi also. If you look at but the fact that if they did run on the same platform, for instance, many believe they would have they would have defeated the APC. But it is because they run on separate platforms. So now that they're coming to the likelihood of them coming together, and yet you said they cannot be able to pull that.
As a 2023 election, let me even take you back to 2019 before we go to 2023. Those of us that were in the field, to be honest with you, it was the opposition that has allowed President Buhari to even come back the second time. Because Nigerians were willing to vote out President Buhari in 2019. In 2023, they were all living within their own parties. Atiku contested under PDP, and Peter contested under Labour. The point I'm trying to bring is that today, where they are moving, they are not carrying the entire structures of where they are. Therefore, whatever they do, they will leave the followership of that, and they are further going to split their own votes, because those opposition will still remain. The PDP will remain, the Labour Party will remain. Whatever name they want to bring, let them bring. And
like in the case of Peter Obi, many believe that the core followership he has, the obedient support base, would certainly go with him wherever he goes to. So it is not about the political party, it's about him as a personality. Didn't you think?
No, the point is, this is a movement, this is not a political party. I may have the interest of Obi, but not necessarily I'll vote for Obi. So if the obedient movement want to translate into a party, let them come and register a party. Let them not go for coalition, so that they will know the weight of Mr. Peter Obi. That is the whole thing. It is an idea. It's just like what you have in the Concosia. It is a movement. And can you tell me that in 2023, Concosia has made any move in winning election? There's nothing.
Well, but he has well over 1 million votes, coming from the Kano, and perhaps that's the reason why it's being brought into the current calculation. That bringing him on board may add value to the current trajectory of the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
If it's all possible, it's all possible. We are not denying that fact. But what we are saying is that Kano, along with 1 million vote, will not make him a president. And therefore, the obedient movement will also not make Peter Obi president in Nigeria. He has to have the diversity of the country. The spread has to be there. It's not a question of only the movement. He has to go to the grassroots and also mobilize. He has to go out. It's not a question of
what is the essence of the structure, for instance? If all this political gladiators we are talking about, pull their strengths, behind him, didn't you think, the same structure that would not mobilize for his emergence?
Mr. Shafi, do you want us to go back and repeat the same thing we are saying?
No.
The question of what I am saying,
yes,
as far as I'm concerned, or as it is today, their weight together, put together, cannot defeat Mr. President. Because I have told you what is their role in their constituency, what is their acceptability.
But if your judgment is based on that, some would say, what is also the acceptability of the president? Because he also lost his state. He lost his base, Lagos, and even his home state, Oshun. So on what basis are you saying that they will also lose their...
Okay, fine. The point is that let's take what is the marginal difference of what Mr. President has lost in Lagos compared to probably what he has made either in Kaduna. Because he has won Kaduna, remember, isn't it? Though PDP has gotten Kaduna, I'm not saying, but at the same time, what he has gotten in Kaduna will cover what he has lost in Lagos. But what probably Mr. Obi might have lost in Kaduna, he will never recover it in Anambra. That is the argument we are saying. The point is spread. It's not an issue of only limited to only. But if they are mobilizing because they are coming from a different end, they are mobilizing, then they are mobilizing on what basis and from who? All what I'm trying to bring up is that the coalition should be able to now collapse PDP, collapse Labour, collapse SDP, make a move. If they have the strength of doing that. But if they don't have, they are just jumping at an individual, they want to go and register party, they are welcome, they can register party. Everybody. We have how many number of parties? 19 number of parties in this country. Yeah. Some of them you know even
and almost,
know their name.
Almost 100 or so have applied.
Have applied. So the question is, nobody is denying anybody. Everybody has right. But what I'm emphasizing is that, one, how genuine what they are doing. Is it in the interest of the country or they are doing it because of their own selfish end? That is one aspect of it that we are looking at. Secondly, for the unity of this country, why don't we allow the man to run his second term? Because nobody was denied. But
is there anybody saying that he shouldn't run for second term?
Yeah, but if somebody is saying, I am going to push him back to his home, that means that person is telling you...
The same has been said about the PDP, and they were able to push PDP, who initially promised to govern for 100 years or so. They were able to push PDP out of the...
PDP's crisis was an internal crisis that has weakened the party. It was basically the sons, the daughters, and the children of PDP that has weakened PDP. And you have very little of it in APC as of today. That is the difference. Coupled with the fact that, as at 2014, the integrity of Malam Buhari, the goodwill, and the support base he has, none of them today is having. So there are a combination of factors that have made them to push PDP aside.
So are you also saying that even though you don't want to believe that Nigerians may be the deciding factors and the current trajectory could be, also a deciding factor, you did say that things are getting better. And if I understand, your hope is that Nigerians may likely rally around President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in 2027.
They may rally around him because these people have nothing to offer. That is what I am saying. Okay. Because we have seen them. Madam Shafi, if they are bringing anybody new, then probably we may have a thought. Say, okay, there's somebody new that we have never seen. But what I am saying is, let's go back to those areas they were opportune to govern. Let us see.
And assess them based on that.
That is the point. Right. Nobody is saying there should be no coalition. In democracy, you have the space. I have the right to say this is why I want to belong. In Nigeria, I want Nigeria to be good. But what we are saying is, let there be objective. Yeah. If they are only coming up because they want to push Mr. President, because they also want to power grab. Yes, then there is nothing in it that somebody should be bothering himself. That is the only emphasis I am saying.
Right. Okay, we'll look at the options before Nigerians, but I think it's about time also we bring in Nigerians to be a part of the conversation. The numbers to call will soon be on your screen, so you can call and share your thoughts with us on these topical issues we are discussing. As we also segue into looking at the options before Nigerians. Because what we are saying literally is that in spite of the current challenges, in spite of the situation in the country, there is no better option than what Nigerians have today. So what would be, how can the ordinary people now be situated in this conversation? Because they want perhaps a better deal, but in your own estimation is that there is nothing that could provide that alternative. So where is the place of...
Mr. Shafi'i, when we continue to mention the situation we are in, I have said it, that Mr. President is aware of the difficulties. But at the same time, I have said it in this forum, that we cannot entirely blame the economic mess up and the hardship in this country on his neck alone. And let
but
me
the
say
buck stop on his table.
Let me
He's the president of that. He has promised Nigerians a better deal.
Agreed.
A renewed hope.
Agreed. What I am saying is that agreed. Left to me, if you ask me to assess, like what I have said earlier, that he is the Democrat, he is also the most courageous president I have ever seen.
Okay, we'll talk about the courage, but I understand we have a caller. Hello, good evening.
Good evening to you.
Yes, who do we have on the line?
This is S.O. calling from Cross River State.
Okay, go ahead, please.
Please confirm if you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you. Loud and clear. Go ahead.
Good evening to you, Mr. Safi.
Yes, good evening.
Good evening to you, Mr. Raji.
Thank you very much.
Yes, the topic is 2027 political regulations, Gandhi's resignation, coalitions, leadership structures, and more. Yes, Gandhi's resignation. If you check critically, there have been series of calls from the North Central that the position of national chairman of APC originally belonged to them.
Yes.
So, in his wisdom, I believe this resignation is going to chart a new course for APC. But be that as it may, if you look at what Mr. Raji is saying, there are no two situations that are the same. Like what happened in 2014 during the registrations of APC.
Yes.
You don't expect it to happen now.
Okay.
Political dynamics are changing.
Right.
Then the Muslim ticket that was actually flown by the current president 2023.
Yeah.
Now you don't expect it to be Uhuru comes 2027. We should take that into cognizance. And now they are saying the calculation is that they want to settle for another person because of some of these indices you are pointing out. So I'm saying you should go to Northwest. But all these options, the president must be very careful. The president must be very careful because one, as it stands now, Nigerians are actually suffering. If he try to correct some of these anomalies before 2027, he is going to win the election. But if he cannot, and the coalition is actually coming up in a nationalistic view, presenting it to Nigeria about some of this failure by this present government. I am telling you, I'm calling from my hometown. I am telling you, Nigerians from the office of the citizens, they will overwhelmingly vote out this president. I am an APC member since 2014 in Cross River here. So we must actually sit up and work now. APC must sit up, or else we are wasting our time by 2027. If the coalition, people are actually sincere, they are after the welfare and the well-being of Nigerian populace that are actually passing through a lot now. It will be very difficult for my party. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your candid opinions. In spite of the fact that he's a party member, he seems to align with those who felt that it is not about those political changes and all of that. It's about the ordinary people that he did mention, just like I said earlier. If Mr. President perhaps could have a leeway if he's able to change the economic narratives, the stomach infrastructure, what is going into the stomach of ordinary Nigerians. Okay, we have another caller. Good evening.
Hello?
Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
Yes, who do we have on the line?
You have Abdulkadir Ibrahim Chikasoron Bauchi.
So, Abdulkadir, go ahead, please.
I have heard what Mr. Raji is saying.
Yes.
Mr. Raji should understand the Nigeria of today and the way Nigerians are suffering, the nasty treatment they are getting from this leadership. I assure you, the story is going to be entirely a different story. This is because if you are looking at it from maybe, you are talking of Kaduna. Kaduna, it was Nasir Rufai that brought Kaduna for Bola Tinubu. you look at some other places, those key figures that now are forming this coalition, they are the truly politicians who fought for Tinubu and brought him to power. You cannot rule out these personalities. The personality of David Mark, the personality of Atiku Abubakar, the personality of Rotimi Amechi, the personality of El-Rufai you are underestimating. I assure you, if they are not careful, you will see surprises. This is because it is now, the tug of war now is between Tinubu and Nigerians. Because the hunger and the anger Nigerians are passing through now, we have never witnessed this kind of things in the history of Nigeria. And Nigerians are being taken for granted. It is not all these people running around telling Tinubu that everybody is with him. The peasants, the masses, the voters, down to us, there they are waiting for 2027 to teach Tinubu and his group a lesson that they will never forget in their life.
Well, you are entitled to your opinion. You cannot speak on behalf of Nigerians. You can only speak on behalf of yourself.
But we are in Nigeria, what
Yes.
Nigerians are saying.
Okay.
And you know what is happening in the country.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much for your opinion. Thank you very much for your opinion. Okay. You've heard him. You know, he's even going further to give you assurances. The other caller was telling you himself and an entire community. This is where they are going and all of that. But all, nobody is disputing the fact that there is need for the ordinary people to be taken into the conversation, because that's what exactly I've been talking about anyway, and what Nigerians have been talking about. It is not about the political schemings, it is not about the endorsements and all of that, but it's about doing what will change the current narrative in terms of leadership. Do you agree with that?
Well, you see, if vote matters, definitely one will say the ordinary Nigerian is the number one factor in who leads him.
Yeah.
We are not disputing that fact. But the point I am presenting is that these people that are parading, we want to see new faces there. Not these ones. That is our argument.
Yeah. Even though
because they are also not better than what they are accusing of. Yeah. In fact, they are by far worse as far as I'm concerned. That is my argument. Yeah. I am not saying that the voters don't have a factor in deciding who becomes what or who does not become what. But they should not be able to go and convince Nigerians, because everybody will go to his own environment. And everybody is not in his own environment. Yeah. So it is very little they can do. If somebody is saying in 2023 they don't have alternative other than that Tinubu, because El-Rufai in Kaduna will not have done PDP. Obviously he has to do, because he has misunderstanding, he is not satisfied with what he has said. That is why he has left. So if somebody is saying in 2023 he was a factor in making President Tinubu, it's obvious, because he was part and parcel of it, and that's why he campaigned. So today he has left, he is no longer there. Somebody is there, somebody will also fight. So that is my argument.
So in other words, all right, I think the time is not on. We could have gone on and on, but let me get your last line before we wrap up things. Yes, interesting things. I mean, interesting days ahead, especially looking at the realignment within the APC. Many believe that it won't stop with the Ganduje's resignation. There are also speculations around the fact that some changes will be made. Definitely. Again, the opposition coalition is also unveiling a platform by next week. It will also be talking about the leadership structure and whatnot. So what do we expect to see in the next couple of days, within the political environment?
Well, what we are expecting to see is that we are going to see a heightened noise within the system. Okay. Heightened noise, I call it noise because I have said it earlier. What the opposition want is for you just to criticize, to condemn, to castigate, whether it is good or bad. Malam Shafi'i, I have said it in this place. Agreed, there is hardship, and which Mr. President has equally admitted there are hardship, and they are working towards a remedy. But we cannot blame him solely. All these people that are parading are part and parcel of this problem. This is a courageous person in 1999.
Yeah, you're talking about the courage. I would have loved to hear more about courage. Courage in...
He is courageous in decision making, because in 1999 we could have removed subsidy. Yeah. We could have removed subsidy in 2007. We could have removed subsidy in 2014. Isn't it?
Okay.
So the man has come and said, okay, there is no, it's not provided in the last budget, therefore no subsidy.
I think we have to go. I understand. Thank you very much, Comrade Ahmad Raji, for talking to us.
Thank you very much
for the opportunity. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Viewers, that's a wrap on today's edition of Sunday Politics, or rather this week's edition of Sunday Politics. Do join us tomorrow. We'll be back with another topic and personalities. On behalf of the technical crew, my name is Shafiu Suleiman. Thanks for being there.